Hello, my name is Muy Cheng Peich, and I'm the Education Director at Libraries Without Borders, or Bibliothèques Sans Frontières, which is an international NGO that works to strengthen the agency of vulnerable populations throughout the world by facilitating access to education and information. Since 2019, Bibliothèques Sans Frontières Libraries Without Borders has been working in Burundi and DRC with vocational training centers, trying to enhance the quality of the teaching through leveraging ICT and digital content for students. What we've done is trying to address a triple challenge. The first one is connectivity, creating tools that enable access to rich media content without any connectivity, to be able to deploy such methodology even in contexts that are very challenging. The second one is content, having tailored, adapted content tailored to the needs of the learners in terms of languages, but also in terms of what is available as an equipment in the field, as well as the subjects. And the third pillar of our work with the vocational training centers is training the teachers to smartly integrate ICT into their pedagogy so that it really enhances what they do with the students. The idea is absolutely not to replace the teachers, but to make them the center of the pedagogy by enabling them to rely on technology for disseminating content, as well as developing the soft skills and hard skills of students. Our program in DRC and Burundi for vocational training centers are articulated around three pillars. The first one is the tool. It's called the Ideas Cube. It's basically a server that enables users to access digital content simply by connecting to the local Wi-Fi hotspots. So the content is uploaded locally and is shared with anyone around the Ideas Cube without any need for data or connectivity. So that is the tool part. Then we work on content, meaning that we curate specific content in relationship with the teachers, in relationship with the learners, so that it really truly fit the curriculum and the needs for information and education of the learners. And third, our accompaniment is the third pillar of our programs. We go through an initial training as well as additional training sessions and coaching throughout the program of the teachers so that they're not only able to use the Ideas Cube, but also to create their own content and to develop new methodology, new uses of this whole internet offline solution. So I would say what makes the program innovative is the tool, of course, being able to access digital content without connectivity, but also the content, being able to access and create content that is truly relevant to the local context. And third, being able to have a community of practitioners that really have a true ownership of the device and are able to become ambassadors of the program for other vocational training centers locally. We're still assessing the impacts of this specific program in vocational training centers in DRC and in Burundi. But what I can tell you is that the first few evaluations have already demonstrated a true ownership of the device by the teachers and by the learners. We've seen an increase in registrations in some of the vocational training centers in which we have worked, because the tool is very attractive to students and they immediately see the relevance of the content for their training and for the development of their skills. What I can also tell you is that we've conducted other evaluations in educational contexts, and we've seen that the use of such pedagogical content, such pedagogical tools in traditional settings have shown an increase in the academic performance of students. For instance, in the Congolese refugee camp, we've shown an increase of 20% of academic performance between the students who have used this offline internet technology and methodology compared to more traditional settings. One of the main challenges that we have encountered while implementing this program is the lack of relevant content for vocational training centers in DRC and Burundi. Most of the content that exists is actually created in high-income countries and not necessarily does not necessarily reflect the realities of countries such as DRC or Burundi. We try to overcome this by partnering with organizations that were able to provide access to such content and under Creative Commons licenses, open access licenses. And the other way we try to overcome that is by training the teachers as well as the learners to create their own content, documenting methodologies, outlines of courses that they knew but did not yet transcribe into a digital form. So we try to train them to create digital content that was then shared across the network. And finally, as a lot of other organizations, we faced during the implementation of the program, the outbreak of COVID-19. And so had to readjust our accompaniment of the teachers in order to enable them to continue to offer training to their students despite the pandemic. So we fortunately have been able to conduct the first training in person, which enable us to really create this connection with the teachers and this community. And then the rest of the trainings and accompaniment was done remotely from Burundi for DRC and even across the country in Burundi, enabling us to conduct the program more or less as we had planned, except that it was done in a remote way. One important lesson that we learned at Libraries Without Borders is the importance of co-designing the curriculum and co-designing the teacher training with our partners in the field, because they know better the context, they know better the backgrounds of their students. And so it was essential for us to really truly involve them in the design of the teacher training model. And this relates to a core principles of our methodology within Libraries Without Borders, which is working with partners in the field always and making sure that they will be autonomous by the end of the program so that they can themselves replicate the methodology. And that is truly, I think, one important lesson to keep in mind while talking about digital education. Digital education is all about empowering the teachers to do more and to do better thanks to technology. It's not about replacing teachers by technology, but it's all about enhancing their capacity to accompany the students individually thanks to ICT. So that's, I think, the most important lesson that we learned. Another important point for us is the need to focus as well on digital literacy for the teachers as well as for the students. And with the technology such as the offline internet, what we want to do is try to reduce the gap between connected regions and unconnected regions. And one way of doing that is also by developing the skills of the community in terms of digital literacy so that they will be ready to connect to the internet and be ready to fully exploit the potential of technology and the internet when it arrives.